A shift is happening around you, and it started long before you realized it. Something in the unseen has been whispering your name, and the echo of that whisper finally reached the surface. You may not feel it yet, but a spiritual record connected to you was opened again, and heaven leaned in. There is a reason you pressed play on this message. There is a reason your spirit feels heavier, deeper, more alert than usual. There is a reason your heartbeat changed the moment you heard the first sentence. You're not just listening, you're being summoned because something was discovered about you and it shocked heaven. The atmosphere around you has been shifting, almost like invisible walls closing in one moment and opening the next. You may have assumed it was stress or pressure or just another silent battle inside your soul. But no, it wasn't random. A spiritual investigation was happening behind your back. And the result is the reason this message exists. But before I tell you what heaven uncovered, I need you to breathe for a moment. Feel the weight in your chest? That's not fear, that's recognition. Your spirit already knows something powerful is coming. For a while now, you've been sensing movements around your life, shadows shifting, silence stretching, people pulling away, old paths closing, new ones feeling blocked. You've been noticing synchronicities that didn't make sense, sudden heaviness with no explanation, unusual stillness in your atmosphere. It wasn't punishment, it wasn't abandonment, it wasn't delay. It was God searching the hidden corners of your life, not to expose you, but to prove something about you, something even you forgot. Have you felt that? That quiet tug, that internal pressure, that strange sense that something is watching the decisions you make? If so, that was the beginning. Let me take you into what actually happened behind the scenes. There was a moment, not in time as you know it, but in a deeper spiritual realm, when an angel stood still, completely still, like creation was waiting for breath to return. A divine light scanned through the chapters of your life, your storms, your choices, your hidden sacrifices, your silent prayers, your private battles, your buried tears, and something unexpected was discovered, something that even the enemy tried to bury under shame, exhaustion, and isolation. A heavenly scroll with your name on it began to glow again, and suddenly the atmosphere changed, because heaven saw the one moment that shifted everything, the moment you saved an angel. Not in the way you imagine, not with wings or swords or visible miracles, but with something you did quietly, humbly, without applause and without witnesses. You stepped in where darkness was trying to take advantage. You spoke life over someone God assigned to you. You protected a soul in a moment when they were spiritually vulnerable. You stood between harm and innocence. You stopped a cycle that was about to destroy someone's future. And here's the twist, that person was connected to an angelic assignment. Your compassion triggered a spiritual chain reaction. Heaven saw it, heaven recorded it, heaven responded to it. Heaven responded to it. And because of that one act, God is proud of you in a way you don't even comprehend yet. But before you feel lifted, I need you to feel something else first, the weight of the truth. Because heaven didn't just applaud you. Heaven made a decision about you. And that decision is why your life has suddenly felt heavy, pressured, intense, or spiritually strange. A spiritual door was opened, a divine verdict was released, and a kingdom assignment was activated around your name. Let me ask you something real. Have you been feeling a spiritual tension lately? Like something is about to change, but you can't describe what? That feeling isn't random. It's the aftershock of a heavenly meeting where your name was spoken with honor. Now breathe again, because I need to show you the conflict in your story. When heaven remembered your name, hell noticed too. Your act of unseen kindness didn't just save a person, it disrupted a plan. A spiritual blueprint the enemy had been building for years suddenly collapsed because of a decision you made in seconds. That's why you've been attacked differently. That's why old patterns tried to return. That's why you felt tired, even after resting. That's why relationships you cared about suddenly shifted. That's why something tried to dim your inner light. It wasn't punishment, it was retaliation. But here's the part the enemy didn't expect. You didn't break, you didn't fold, you didn't lose your softness, you didn't betray your nature. In nature, you didn't abandon your calling, you didn't surrender your compassion. You kept going, even when you didn't know heaven was watching. And now I need you to hear this with your whole soul. A divine reversal has begun because of you. The very attack that tried to take you out is being turned into the evidence heaven will use to raise you higher. The silence you've been feeling is not absence, it's the calm before God reveals why He is proud of you. The shadows that tried to intimidate you have already been bound. The pressure around you is breaking open the next chapter written with your name on it. Let me ask you something deeply honest. Can you sense a shift happening inside your spirit right now as you listen? If yes, that's confirmation. If no, you will feel it by the time begins. But before we move forward, I need to leave you with this visceral image. In the unseen realm, a golden light just fell on your name. Shadows that had lingered around your life are beginning to fall back. A spiritual door that was sealed is beginning to unlock. And the angel whose assignment you unknowingly protected is now standing over your life, watching, covering, guarding, and preparing something extraordinary on your behalf. Next, we'll reveal what that preparation is and why God is now about to reward you in a way that will silence the accusations against you. Take a breath. You don't know it yet, but something sacred is forming around you. There is a moment, a very specific moment, where heaven begins to move things behind your back before anything shifts in front of your eyes. That moment, for you, has already started. You felt it, didn't you? A quiet restlessness, a subtle pressure in your chest. A whisper with no voice nudging you to pay attention. This is not anxiety. This is not imagination. This is not spiritual noise. This is the signal that heaven has entered the room of your life. Star, the angel who stood in the doorway, there is a vision unfolding around you. And I want you to picture this scene clearly. A narrow hallway, a dim atmosphere, multiple doors on each side. Multiple doors on each side. You have walked this hallway for years, not knowing why some doors stayed locked no matter how hard you tried to open them. But tonight, something different happens. You stop, you turn, you look behind you, and you see an angel standing at the end of the hallway. Not rushing, not shouting, simply watching you as if they were waiting for this very moment. And the angel whispers, "Do not go back. The next door is about to unlock." You don't touch the door, you don't twist the handle, you don't knock. It unlocks for you because this door isn't about effort, it's about timing. God's timing, heaven's schedule, your life's appointed sequence. You didn't miss your moment. Your moment was being built in silence. Let that settle in your spirit. Star, the pressure was the proof. Think about this. Why has the pressure increased? Why have old emotions resurfaced? Why have you felt spiritually crowded, like something is pushing from within? Why did certain people suddenly pull away? Why did certain conversations stop? Why did certain connections dissolve without warning? Because you outgrew the room you were in, and heaven could no longer allow you to shrink to fit environments that couldn't handle your expansion. Pressure is evidence of spiritual renovation. When God enlarges your spirit, your atmosphere gets tight before it gets open. Let me ask you something deeply. ? Have you noticed everything around you becoming too small lately? Not physically, spiritually. Your tolerance changed. Your insight sharpened. Your energy became precious. Your boundaries strengthened. Your discernment awakened. This is not personality change. This is preparation. This is God preparing your inner world for what your outer world hasn't seen yet. Star, the secret opposition you never saw before heaven opens a new door. Hell always attempts one last interruption. You've been facing that recently, though you may not have recognized it. The random irritation, the unexpected delay, the invisible heaviness, the sudden thoughts of quitting, the emotional exhaustion with no explanation. Let me reveal something. This was not meant to break you. This was meant to identify you. Every chosen soul experiences a moment where invisible resistance exposes their visible calling. Hell doesn't fight the unimportant. Hell fights the unstoppable. You weren't under attack because you were weak. You were under attack because you were carrying a spiritual key that would open something the enemy wanted closed. But here is the twist. Star, you already broke the attack without realizing it. Not because you fought back, but because you didn't give in. Your resilience was the victory. Your patience was the weapon. Your refusal to collapse was the breakthrough. Heaven recorded it, which leads to the next divine scene. Star, the moment heaven called your name while you were going through the pressure, something sacred happened in the spiritual realm. Your name, your full spirit name, was spoken in a hidden chamber. And when heaven speaks your name, the atmosphere around your life begins to rearrange itself. Angels take new assignments, old cycles break, closed paths dissolve, new pathways appear. This is why things feel unfamiliar. This is why your spirit feels alert. Something has shifted because you shifted. Nothing has shifted because you shifted. And now, heaven's attention is on you in a way it hasn't been in a long time. Let me ask you something. Can you feel it? That strange mixture of calm and intensity, like something is about to happen. That is the spiritual sign that the next chapter has already started writing itself. Star, a whisper from the other side of the door as you stand before the newly unlocked door. You hear something faint but unmistakable. A soft, warm, divine whisper. You are safe to move forward now. Not a move fast, not a move blindly, not a move with fear. Move with awareness. Because what's behind this door is not a blessing you chase. It is a blessing that has been waiting for you. A blessing shaped by your pain. A blessing timed by your endurance. A blessing protected by your obedience. A blessing matured by your patience. Your next chapter is not random. It is tailored. It carries your fingerprints because heaven designed it with your battles in mind. Star, the light begins to open as the door pushes open. A golden light spills out, warm, steady, alive. This is not ordinary light. This is recognition. Heaven recognizing your growth, your strength, your transformation, your resilience, your evolution, your spirit's awakening, and the angel behind you whispers, you survived what was meant to destroy you. Now walk into what was meant for you. There comes a moment, a rare, divine, irreversible moment, when the timelines of your life shift without asking your permission. Not because you prayed harder, not because you tried more, not because you tried better, but because heaven finally said, it is time. And when heaven declares a timing change, nothing on earth can stop it. Nothing in the spiritual realm can interfere. Nothing in your past can disqualify you. You have reached that moment. This is why everything feels unfamiliar, yet strangely aligned. The script of your life is being rewritten while you're still in the room. Star, the invisible meeting about your future. Let me take you into a spiritual scene few people ever glimpse. Picture a vast, endless chamber, walls made of light, a silence that feels like truth itself, a table that isn't a table, but a place of divine authority, and around it, a gathering. Angels, messengers, kingdom watchers, heavenly scribes, and your spirit was called forward. Not your body, not your history, not your mistakes, your identity, the real you, the you that God formed before you ever arrived. A book was opened, the book of your assignments, your tests, your victories, your endurance, your scars, your growth, and something powerful was spoken over you. Their preparation is complete. Initiate the shift. This is the moment everything in your life began to rearrange. Not by force, but by alignment. People drifted away. Opportunities dissolved. Paths closed. Your emotions changed. Your desires sharpened. Your spirit awakened. You did not lose anything. You were repositioned. Let me ask you, ? Have you felt like you were being pulled out of old environments you didn't belong to anymore? That was heaven relocating you without moving your feet. Star, the angel of intervention in that chamber. After your name was spoken, another moment unfolded. A significant one. An angel stepped forward, tall, radiant, calm, carrying something that looked like a sealed scroll. And heaven said, assign it to them. They will need this in the coming season. The scroll was placed in the angel's hands, and instantly your spirit received what your eyes couldn't see. New protection, new clarity, new favor, new understanding, new authority, new spiritual immunity. This is why you no longer react to things that once shook you to your core. This is why you can sense people's intentions before they speak. This is why the enemy's old tactics no longer tempt you. You've been upgraded, spiritually recalibrated, and the angel was sent to walk with you until the next phase unfolds. You may not see them, but you have felt their presence in the sudden peace, in the quiet warnings, in the inner strength that came from nowhere, in the protection you can't explain. You have not been walking alone. Star the hidden conversation about your life. There was also one more moment, a moment rarely spoken of, a conversation, a divine one. And it went something like this. They have remained faithful, despite the battles, despite the disappointment, despite the setbacks. They did not turn bitter. They did not abandon their calling. They did not corrupt their heart. Release what has been held back. That sentence, that decree, shifted your spiritual authority instantly. And this is why people who underestimated you are about to witness a version of you that even you have never seen. Doors that refused to open are now unlocking at once. Resources, opportunities, connections, all aligning with perfect timing, not because of luck, not because of coincidence, because heaven has spoken on your behalf. Let me ask you something deeply. Do you feel like something is finally about to break open, even though nothing visible has changed yet? That is the aftershock of a heavenly decision. Aha! Star the twist you didn't expect now. Here is the twist. The blessing coming toward you is not the one you thought you were preparing for. It's bigger, heavier, more refined, more influential, more aligned with who you've become, not who you were. Heaven didn't match you with an old dream. Heaven matched you with a new reality. You thought you were praying for restoration. God was preparing elevation. You thought you were asking for clarity. God was giving you authority. You thought you were waiting for a new season. God was building a new version of you. And the shift you're walking into will make certain past prayers look small. This is the plot twist. The blessing coming is not the one you lost. It is the one you grew into. As the heavenly meeting concludes, the chamber begins to dim. The light begins to fold into itself, and your spirit is released back into your body. But something is different now. You carry a new weight, not a burden, but a spiritual density. Your presence has changed. Your atmosphere has changed. Your frequency has changed. Your destiny has been updated. You are not in the same timeline anymore. Heaven moved you forward before earth even noticed. There are moments in life when heaven stops observing and starts intervening, moments when the spiritual realm no longer sits in silence, but steps into the storyline of your life with a force so deliberate, so undeniable, that nothing afterwards remains the same. You are standing inside one of those moments now. This is why everything around you feels heavier, yet strangely lighter, quieter, yet spiritually louder, still, yet full of motion you can't see. This is the unmistakable signature of a divine reversal in progress. Heaven is not just watching your story. Heaven is adjusting it. Let me take you deeper into the unseen truth. There was a shift in the spiritual realm that happened so suddenly, so drastically, that everything connected to your life had no choice but to realign. And this shift didn't happen because you asked for it. It happened because you qualified for it. Star, the angel who stood between you and what was sent to destroy you there, is something you need to understand. Not every attack against your life ever reached you and would have reached you. Not every word spoken against your name was permitted to land. Not every arrow shot in secret was allowed to strike. Not every plot designed in darkness ever made it to your doorstep. There were battles being fought on your behalf that your eyes never saw. One particular moment stands out in the heavenly records. Imagine this. A shadowy figure approaches the edges of your spiritual territory, carrying an assignment designed to disrupt your clarity, your direction, your peace, your favor. But before it could take one more step, a blinding light descended like a sword. An angel stepped forward. Massive, unshakable, unmoved. With a voice that felt like thunder wrapped in calm, the angel declared, "This one has been marked. This one has been sealed. This one carries a kingdom assignment. Proceed no further." And the entire attack collapsed instantly. This divine interception is part of the reason you suddenly lost interest in certain people, why your spirit became restless in specific places, why certain conversations didn't feel the same, why your intuition became sharper overnight. It wasn't random. It wasn't your imagination. It was protection activated. Let me ask you something deep. Have you recently felt like someone's access to you was silently removed? That wasn't drifting. That was divine disconnection. Star the moment heaven exposed the hidden agenda, there is a spiritual law. When your assignment shifts, your discernment increases. This is why lately you can sense intentions without evidence. You can read spirits without words. You can feel truth without confirmation. Your soul isn't paranoid. It's awakened. And during this recent awakening, something significant happened. A hidden agenda against you was exposed. Not by a person, not by a mistake, but by heaven itself. Let me show you the scene. In the spiritual realm, a veil was lifted over someone who had been pretending, smiling on the surface but hoping for your downfall in secret. This person may have acted supportive, but envy was brewing beneath the skin. They underestimated you. They judged your silence. They misread your kindness. They assumed your humility meant weakness. But heaven saw what they hid. And just like a candle caught in the wind, their influence over your journey went out in a single breath. Whether you realized it or not, you were rescued from someone whose presence was slowing you down, and heaven whispered, "Move them out of the frame. A greater chapter is approaching." This is why you felt confusion, disappointment, or distance, not because something went wrong, but because God removed a liability before they could sabotage your timing. Star the divine reversal. When God turned the tables, here's the truth few people ever hear. You didn't just survive an attack. You triggered a reversal. When the enemy couldn't break you, heaven decided to elevate you, and not quietly, but publicly. This is where the story shifts dramatically. Let me take you into a second spiritual scene, a courtroom of light, a throne that radiates authority. An atmosphere so holy that intentions cannot hide and lies cannot breathe. Your name was brought forth, not for judgment, but for justice. Angels opened the records of your endurance, your tears, your sacrifices, your growth, your obedience, your patience, your integrity in private, your strength in silence. All of it testified for you, and heaven declared, "What was delayed shall now accelerate. What was blocked shall now break open. What was stolen shall now return multiplied." This is the divine reversal you are now walking into. You aren't stepping into compensation. You're stepping into restoration with interest. Every area where you suffered in silence is about to be amplified in victory. Every season where you felt overlooked is about to be reversed in visibility. Every moment you were ignored is about to be honored. And here's the twist. The very people who thought your story was over witness your rise, not to humiliate them, not to prove yourself, but to display what happens when heaven favors a person who never gave up. A person who never gave up. Star the angel of release. What's approaching you in this next phase? A specific angelic assignment has come forward. The angel of release. This angel is now responsible for delivering everything that has been held back, opportunities that were frozen, connections that were paused, ideas that were waiting for timing, doors that were locked until your growth was complete, miracles that needed spiritual clearance. The angel of release holds a key, not just symbolic, but functional. This key unlocks paths that were previously invisible. This is why your mind has been expanding, why your dreams feel sharper, why your desires feel more focused, why your spirit feels more mature, because you are finally ready for what was always yours but not yet safe to receive. Let me ask you, do you feel like something is being prepared for you right now? Something you can't name but can feel? That sensation is the angel of release drawing near. Star the moment your spirit outgrew your environment. Something powerful happened recently, but it didn't happen externally. It happened within you. Your spirit grew faster than your surroundings. You expanded inwardly so suddenly that the old environment could no longer contain you. This is why certain rooms feel too small. Certain conversations feel too shallow. Certain people feel too draining. Certain opportunities feel too familiar. Certain habits feel too outdated. Certain routines feel too limiting. Your spirit outgrew what your life used to be. And now, your reality must adjust to match your expansion. This is why transition feels uncomfortable. Why you feel in between. Why you feel like you're waiting for something without knowing what it is. You're not stuck. You're outgrowing, and outgrowing is the prelude to promotion. Star the approaching breakthrough. Already in motion now, here is the part your spirit has been sensing, but your mind hasn't fully understood. Something you prayed for is already on the way, not being processed, not being considered, not being discussed, already released, already assigned. Ooh. Already traveling toward your life. This breakthrough is not coming slowly. It's accelerating. It's not approaching cautiously. It's pursuing you. And when it arrives, your entire atmosphere will shift in a single moment. You won't have to force it. You won't have to chase it. You won't have to beg for it. It will find you because it was written for you. The same angel who stood between you and danger is the same angel clearing the path for this miracle to enter your life. And when it arrives, you will understand why the journey felt so heavy. It wasn't punishment. It was preparation. There comes a point in every spiritual journey when silence breaks, when waiting ends, when the invisible becomes undeniable, and when heaven makes a public decision about your life. You are standing in that moment. Now, everything you survived, everything you learned, every tear you hid, every battle you carried alone, every night you felt forgotten, was leading to one single chapter in your story, the moment heaven spoke your name aloud, not whispered, not mentioned in passing, but declared with authority. Let me take you into that scene, star the heavenly summons. Bring their name forward in the spiritual realm. A gathering was called, not a small meeting, a full summons. Light filled the atmosphere like waves of gold. Angels lined both sides of a massive chamber, and a presence so holy filled the space that creation itself seemed to bow. Then came the command, bring their name forward. Your name, your soul's identity, your spiritual signature, your divine imprint was carried into the center of that realm, not because of pity, not because of desperation, but because it was time, and heaven spoke. Their season of limitation has expired. Their assignment now expands. And prepare the release. Everything changed in that moment. Angels who had been observing suddenly moved into action. Paths rearranged. Timelines shifted. Obstacles broke. Connections aligned. Resources activated. You don't realize this yet, but from that moment forward, your life has been under a supernatural fast track. The delays you experienced were not because you were disqualified, but because heaven was preparing a higher route for you to rise through. Star, the real reason God isolated you. You need to understand something you may have misunderstood for years. Your isolation wasn't rejection. It wasn't punishment. It wasn't abandonment. It wasn't bad luck. It wasn't spiritual silence. It was separation for elevation. Let me show you why. Every person you tried to hold on to, every relationship you forced, every circle you attempted to stay in, every environment you tried to shrink yourself for, would have suffocated the person you were becoming. You were growing too quickly for people who wanted you to remain small. You were transforming too deeply for people who feared your evolution. You were awakening too powerfully for people who benefited from your blindness. So heaven removed you, even when you didn't understand why. Let me ask you a question, Mark. You noticed that your loneliness didn't break you. It refined you. It refined you. That's because isolation was never meant to weaken you. It was meant to stabilize you. Every silent season made you stronger. Every quiet moment sharpened your discernment. Every hidden phase stretched your spirit. You didn't lose people. You outgrew environments. Star the warning before the blessing. This next part is extremely important. Don't rush past it. Right before a major blessing arrives, your spirit becomes sensitive. Why? Because the blessing is sacred. Why? Because the blessing is sacred. Heavenly Father, I lift up the person listening to this message. I pray that divine clarity surrounds them, that every closed door makes sense, that every new door opens easily, that every hidden blessing is released, that every spiritual attack loses power, and that their next chapter unfolds with grace, speed, strength, and supernatural favor. Cover them. Guide them, walk with them, and reveal the version of themselves that you always intended. Amen. If this message confirmed what your spirit has been feeling, comment "I receive it" below so you can step into agreement with heaven.